Well, people have got worked up over plenty of musicians, from Elvis Presley wiggling his pelvis in the 50s to the Rolling Stones 10 years later. So what have the Sex Pistols got that provokes the same reaction? You would have thought that people couldn't be upset by much in 1976. Let's take a look at the path of pop music over the last 15 years and try to discover why punk rock has found so many fans.
It's the Beatles!
In the days of the beach boom in the early 60s, there was a feeling of great involvement with a new sort of music. These Beatle fans, filmed in the Liverpool Cavern Club when the group was still unknown, really were close to their idols. It didn't take much equipment to start your own band, or much in the way of skill. The idols of the day were reasonably easy to see in a small club and at a price which their fans could afford. At the time, many middle-aged people found bands like the Stones, the Pretty Things and so on ugly and threatening. This helped the fans identify even more strongly with their music. And some groups, like The Who, came from the same background and were singing about the same world their audience lived in and understood. But as time passed and the bands grew wealthier, they became more remote from their audience. For many, this film is the closest they will get to a Led Zeppelin concert. Admission prices have gone up and up, and the music has become complicated and less accessible to would-be musicians.
Hey, mama said the way you move will make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
In reaction to this increasing remoteness of musicians from their fans, pub rock circuits developed in the 70s, where anyone could buy a drink and see a band. And recently, a return to basic gutsy rock and roll has taken Dr. Feelgood out of the pubs and up to the top of the album charts. But the Feelgoods are probably the exception, because by and large, pub rock bands have never succeeded outside their pubs. I asked the Sex Pistols why they thought pub rock had failed to catch on.
Most of their music was just based around old standards, like Bees Make Honey and bands like that. They just played everybody else's songs that everybody been playing for like 15 years. There's a couple of bands like the Kilburns, really good.
They were all mostly country and western and rhythm and blues. And what the hell good juice is that, man?
What was needed was a style of music that was as easy to play as pub rock, but rejected the past and had a new identity of its own. What musicians do you rate? I mean, who do you think is a good singer?
I don't. I don't have any heroes. They're all useless. Well, there's no bands around, is there? None. None that are accessible.
Well, before you...
Unless you pay a fiver to see them, and then you can't see them.
And what sort of people came to see you in the beginning?
Well, no one knew us at the beginning.
It was just whoever was there when we turned up. Because we used to turn up with our equipment and just like crash in and do the gigs. Nobody knew we was playing until we got there. We didn't even know, actually.
Well, you reckon that was the only way to get a gig, was just to turn up first? And...
Yeah, that's how we can get gigs.
Fucking pushing.
Come
Still can't
here.
get them.
No, Sean.
How come
on, Sean.
No.
What, when you stood up and started singing the first time, what happened? I mean...
Oh, John, go on.
It was wonderful.
No, come on.
People loved me. They threw flowers.
Well, look, I saw you the 6th time, and they were quite shell-shocked.
Well, then you know yourself, don't you?
Well, what sort of people come to see
People at
you?
home though, Johnny.
I don't know, just bored people. Bored out their brains with hippies.
What's this thing you got against hippies?
They're complacent.
You were just attacking Chopper and Pops and the sort of bands that are on there. What, do you think they're relevant to the kids 16, 17?
Of course they're not. Relevant to their mums and dads, but that's about all.
What about bands like Rod Stewart?
What about him?
Mums and dads, yeah. He's all round, isn't he? All round entertainment.
He's an old
Things really started to move for the Sex Pistols when they were spotted by promoter Ron Watts, who gave them a booking at the 100 Club in Oxford Street.
I saw them at High Wycombe, and it was interesting because they really managed to upset the crowd, or most of the crowd. And they had some of their followers with them who looked like people I'd never seen before in my life.
What did they look like?
Oh, amazing. They had this multicoloured hair, and they had clothes on which had been ripped to pieces and put back together with safety pins. And it was very bizarre. It's beyond anything that I'd seen.
Beyond anything that had hit High Wycombe before?
Yeah, probably since as well.
And what happened when they played down here?
Well, the first time they played, their audience turned out, the Bromley lot with the multicoloured hair again and what have you. And it was good. We hadn't seen anything like it, and so we thought, well, we'll give it a try again. And there weren't very many people come in at first, you know. The first sort of half dozen gigs were very average in support, you know. Any other band would have done as many people. But it's the actual followers that did it, you know, that turned the key.
We've been there for 5 years or more just waiting for this to happen, and now it's happened.
It looks like it's only a punk way of dressing. It's just dressing exactly how you want to look and finding clothes that are original, not like wearing everything that everyone else wears, you know, looking just a bit different.
Have you tried to get bands together?
Yeah, I did the 100 Club, the punk festival. Susie and the Banshees.
What did you sing?
The Lord's Prayer via Twist and Shout, Knocking on Heaven's Door, and a bit of Deutschland, Deutschland, über alle.
And what went down the best?
All of it. It got boring in some parts, but it picked up.
And who was backing you up?
Sid Vicious on drums, Steve Spunker on bass, Marco on guitar, and me just doing the vocals.
Are you a singer?
Yeah.
Had you sung before?
Not on stage, no.
Did you think that was important?
No.
You know, you can rehearse for 2 days in the garage and not having played before and go out and do a gig. You know, it was like that before, though, wasn't it? The skiffle was like that. The skiffle was very important in British music. That's where all the groups came from.
How can you tell a good punk rock band from a bad one?
Well, the audience judge that, I think.
I mean, what do you think's produced punk rock? Why is it sort of sprung up?
It had to. It was the only thing that could happen. I mean, it was the only thing that didn't come from the industry. It came from the kids themselves. Something had to come from the kids. You know, the industry had run out of ideas. That's why they had rock and roll revivals every other year.
But what is it that the punk rock bands are saying that makes them a part and a reflection of their generation? We'll be back with the words of the musicians and their audiences, and, most important, more of the music itself after a break.